let me close by saying that I really want to invite y'all to join this journey of human rights with us, and I'm so glad your conference was themed human rights, because in many, many ways, I feel that Dr. King's dream was unfinished. They killed him before he could tell us what he was trying to do, that he had moved beyond civil rights into human rights. Malcolm X had moved beyond civil rights into human rights. Audre Lorde, James Baldwin moved beyond civil rights into human rights. And nobody told us. We didn't get that memo. So what is special for me is that even as an activist in my 50s, I always felt that most of the good stuff happened before I was either born or conscious. I never had to deal with a segregated bathroom or a school that said whites only. I never had to deal with that. And since I was in the women's movement, I never felt that, the brunt of that. We were the ones making change. So what's exciting to me about understanding the human rights movement is that that's the movement we can build. Nobody's done that before. Now, there are human rights organizations out here, let's be clear. But for the most part, those organizations, as great as their work is, pays attention to human rights violations overseas. They don't bring human rights home and talk about our economic policy, our homeless policies, our discrimination policies, our lack of voting rights, the violence we all experience as human rights violations committed in the U.S. by both our government and private actors. So your mission, if you choose to accept it, like they used to say, Mission Impossible, is to figure out how we're going to build a human rights movement in this country where we have a women's rights wing of the human rights movement, and a queer rights wing of the human rights movement, and a youth wing of the human rights movement, and an environmental wing. You get my point? We can all work on our own issues, but we have to agree to do that work as part of a larger movement with a larger analysis, with a larger framework, and most of all, a larger commitment to working from the place of love instead of anger. Because anger will only eat you up inside. It will not produce social change. But when you work from a sense of love and you build a human rights movement, I think that this is the task for the 21st century. To do something that ain't never been done in this country before, which is build that human rights movement. So I invite y'all to join me in the human rights movement. Now that you know what your human rights are, you can be part of it. Oh, I just want to say one thing. There is a new emerging category of human rights. I think because of technology, the right to participate in the digital age will be the next human right. And people who do not have access to the internet will be seen as subhuman probably within the next 20 years. So a new human right is emerging even as we talk. And so think about that. See if you like the thought of being part of something larger called the human rights movement. And I invite you to join me on this exciting journey that I've been on all my life. Thank you.